outpost of the religion, which would later shape how Sri Lankan Buddhists would see themselves. These settled Sinhalese cultures would always be based around water, because you need water to grow food, and only some parts of Sri Lanka had enough of it for agriculture throughout the year. That was until the rise of an empire of technocrats and the city of Anuradhapura. For well over 1,000 years, the history of Sri Lanka was the history of Anuradhapura. Soon after the Sinhalese arrived, they built this city, and the kingdom lasted for around 1,500 years. Can you imagine being a part of a civilization like that? It must have felt eternal. At its height, Anuradhapura was one of the great cities of its age. It had dozens of monasteries and as many as 10,000 monks. This was the golden age of Sinhalese culture. Its temples and dagobas were the biggest things that people had built since the pyramids of Giza. At its height, it would have taken a day to walk across, and had a population of as many as 2 million people. And it traded with places as far away as Rome. The thing was, Anuradhapura was built in the island's dry zone. The city was only made possible by one of the world's most sophisticated systems of irrigation, which turned these dry plains into a rice bowl. Water would be kept in artificial lakes or tanks until it was needed, then released in a system of canals and sluice gates to distant lands. For example, you had the Jayaganga Canal, which was 90 kilometers long, but had a gradient of just about 6 inches per mile. It irrigated 466 square kilometers of agricultural land. We actually don't even know much about how they did this. We don't know how they did their calculations or what equipment they used. And what they achieved would still be a major undertaking today. The land was flat, but it had these natural basins that were basically imperceptible to the naked eye, and these ancient engineers found them and turned them into tanks, of which there were more than 18,000, each one, on average, 350 times larger than an Olympic swimming pool. They were the ultimate hydraulic civilization. They changed the entire ecosystem of the dry zone. Until the hydraulic civilizations, Sri Lanka didn't actually have that many elephants. But now, in the words of John Gimlet, mankind had turned the land into a giant elephant salad, and their numbers skyrocketed.